call the meeting to order. Stand and say the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Motion to approve the agenda with one amendment, item E, resignation of Melanie Richardson.
So moved.
Thank you, Joel. Second, Aaron. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Public communications? None? Okay. Conflicts disclosure? None?
Nope.
Oh,
I might, do I need for the CTE project, and I see
Yep,
there's a
we'll do-
claim to Webster scale in there.
We'll do two separate motions.
yep. You've got a blanket in on that, and so,
Okay.
yep, we'll do the two. Okay. Minutes. Motion to approve the minutes of our November 15th meeting.
So moved.
Thank you, Marty. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Larry. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the financial statements.
So moved.
Thank you, Joel. Second. Thank you, Marty. Discussion? Everything looks good to me. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the claims with the exception of the Webster scale payment, or which, how do we? JDH payment, is that best? Okay, JDH payment.
So moved.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Aaron. Discussion. Anybody see anything? Question?
It's all good.
I didn't have any this month.
Neither did I. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the claim of JDH Construction.
So moved.
Thank you, Larry. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Marty. Discussion, and Joel will abstain from this portion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve Bo Freeze as volunteer boys basketball coach contingent upon a background check.
So moved.
Thank you, Joel. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Aaron. Discussion? I'm sure he'll pass a background check.
I hope
So, yeah, we hope so. Well, that's good. Thanks for whoever figured that out. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve Larry Jareva as permanent LAN member for the Webster Area School District, so as long as he serves on the Webster Area School Board.
So moved.
So we got that out quick. Joel?
Second.
Thanks. Larry, can we talk you into it one more time? Come on.
You do a good job at it, Larry.
All right, thank you very much. Everybody should give Larry extra kuchen later on here when we're done. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I thought it was nay.
What's that? Did you say a nay? I didn't hear it. Apologize. If we got one nay, we still got 4-1. We
No.
passed. Motion to amend the TASC plan document.
So moved.
Thank you, Larry. Second, Aaron. So what we're looking at doing is we would like to amend the document to include additional language to, quote, change in status, end quote, an event for election change for the group health plan coverage. This really is just a formality that pertains to the flex plan spending. Did anybody have any questions on that in regards to what was given to you in your board packet?
This is coming down from the IRS, so it's just a legal change.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the EMT classes we discussed last month to commence next semester.
So moved.
Thank you, Marty. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Aaron. Discussion?
Just a quick follow-up on that. We had Chad here last month. Chad?
Yeah.
Yes. Madsen. This is basically mostly for senior level students. Junior level students can do this, but we will encourage our kids to participate. I know personally some students that participated in things like this, or at least right out of high school. not knowing that they were gonna end up in a career in this area, and they actually did. So there's potential for some kids to maybe go down a career choice that maybe we didn't think about originally, while at the same time assisting our community with a pretty good need, with helping out the ambulance group, so.
There's no minimum or anything, is there?
I do not believe so, but I do believe that when they have, the courses where they actually have to, or the class sessions where they actually have to meet, depending on the number of students, there might be a little bit farther distance to travel if there's not very many in this area, if you would call that.
Yep.
So.
I did hear positive comments after our last meeting from a few members of the community on that. Any other questions for Dr. Block? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the resignation of Melanie Richardson. Thank you, Aaron. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Larry. Discussion?
We have the position already advertised. It's kind of one of those things as you know, we've kind of had a revolving door with our custodial situation. We had some that have lasted a while. She's been here for about a year, but we'll see what happens with applicants here in the near future. We want to get it filled as soon as possible, obviously, because we have that need. What we typically do when we have an opening like this, or a vacancy within our system, is the remaining custodians will kind of pick up that slack, and then they have to rotate some of their duties in order to be able to meet the duties of, or at least partial duties of the person that's missing, so.
Okay. Any other comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Discussion items. Superintendent report, Dr. Block.
The first two items that I actually had on my list before writing in some others is legislative topics and the governor's budget address. I'll be honest, I did not attend the superintendent's meeting in Chamberlain last Wednesday. They did discuss a plethora of legislative topics at that meeting. I do have the notes from that, but I haven't reviewed it. That basically will give us some guidelines as to where school administrators of South Dakota, school superintendents of South Dakota, and probably Associated School Board, where the three entities will come together on the legislative topics. So there'll be more to come with that, and obviously once the legislative session begins, I'll try to update you. You folks probably get emails as well, at least one or two of you maybe.
I do.
And
Yep.
so I'll try to keep you updated as much as possible. Obviously, if there's any particular legislative topic that comes up where there's a bill that we either have been encouraged or doesn't work well with education, we'll either support or not support it publicly. I do make contact with our local legislators when we need to, and if it's something that's really a hot topic, I try to let you guys know before we're sending on a district sort of stance on it. So wanted to mention that we have the grant award for the CTE Innovative Equipment Grant, so that's in the amount of $181,000. It is the full amount that we requested for all of the commercial kitchen equipment for our culinary program, and so that's a good thing. Lori and I will figure out what we need to do to make sure that we follow all of the procedures with this was, some of this is COVID money, but obviously this particular part is grant money. Make sure that we follow all the procedures to make sure that it can be used for that particular equipment.
Can I just interrupt you 1 second on that?
Yes.
I'd like to just thank you and Lori and whoever else from the administration that helped put that together. I know that takes a lot of work to gather all the information to put those grant requests together, and then thank you to all the businesses that also took the time to give you their letters of support. That's a big deal to the Webster School District.
Yes. I actually put thank yous in the mail via the postal mail today regarding the letters of support that we received. But I do want it to go beyond just a letter of support. I think our ongoing relationships with those entities is valuable, and I think with this particular equipment, it's possible that our relationship might grow and strengthen with us either providing, I would say, temporary workers, if not full-time workers. I mean, that's ultimately what our goal is for that whole process. So.
I don't know if any of you other guys read through any of those articles and just saw the grant list and all of the different things that were out there. I think we gotta stay up on that and keep looking at, you know, improving our program in any way that we can, because there's a lot of opportunities there.
As long as they're gonna have grant money, we need to look at the workforce needs that we have locally and what we can hopefully maintain as a program and seek those dollars, especially if it can increase and improve our programs.
Well, I think it's important to note too, we just received that grant also for the welding equipment, how many years ago?
The workforce grant, we did that in 2016.
Yeah, 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, so the fact that we picked it up again, there was many people that had also told us, don't be surprised if you don't receive anything from the state. And so I think it's good that the community knows we still took the time to put it together and it worked out well to the tune of $181,000, so thank you. So good deal.
There are some Homeland Security grants. I'll be honest, I don't know much about them, but we just received the information from the, I'm looking at Lori and Craig. As administrators in South Dakota, we're on a listserv, and so we received a summary from the Department of Ed, and in there are some Homeland Security grants. It doesn't cover cameras, we know that for sure, but it does cover some things that we hope to complete or install with our new addition here, as well as what we hope to do K-12 when it comes to security for the building. The security doors, the access to get in to the building, some of those things can be covered. So we're gonna look into that. I'm gonna find out what things are possible and what things we have for need, and we'll certainly be writing another grant. Natalie Baum is doing an administrative intern type of a thing with me, and she's gonna actually headline the committee as part of her duties for her internship, so that we can put together a nice grant for that. The grant is due in January, so it's gonna be kind of a quick return, but
I have one more to throw in too also. Mrs. Block is working, we are trying to get E-rate funds to help us assist with, what's the equipment she's trying to get?
is that the intercom audio?
No,
or-
that's all ESSER money.
It's probably the wiring closet and switches.
Yeah, all of that stuff. So we're trying to get E-rate funds to cover all that for the new wing too.
And just know E-rate is, that's a
program again.
monster in itself with following guidelines and federal restrictions. So whenever we can utilize E-rate funds, it's a good thing. There's not a huge amount of E-rate funds, but we'll certainly do whatever we can to utilize those. We'll continue to work on the school improvement plan. I'll let Mr. Case talk about his situation with the special ed review. School improvement plan, our accreditation review is in March, and so starting in January, I will start to upload all of the documentation that needs to be put onto some sort of a server or site that we have to get that information to. And then we'll have the review. Ours is more of a desk audit, so it's not like we're gonna have an outside committee come in and walk our halls and visit us. It's more of a compliance thing where we put everything together, document what we have, and then they review our documents and then make recommendations for areas of improvement. That is what I have so far for the superintendent's portion. Unless you have any questions.
Anything for Dr. Block? All right, if not, principal report, Mr. Case?
Just going off of what Dr. Block said with the special ed review, I didn't bring any of that information with me because what they'll do is they were here last Thursday, and they sat down with our teachers and went over some special ed files and, talked about some of the good things that they were doing and some of the things that we needed to work on. So some of them are still, some of the things that we still need to work on are still a question mark. So they will take their findings back and then share it with their boss back at Department of Ed. And then in turn, then they'll say, yes, this is good, you can throw that out. And then they'll return the things to improve on our compliance review. And then they'll let us know what things we need to work on, or corrective action is what they call it. So there were some things with our comprehensive plan that we approve every July, and we go through the co-op. What they said about the comprehensive plan was we need to be a little more specific in terms of Webster versus vague, because the comprehensive plan is kind of written by the co-op, but yet the co-op has directed the districts to make it more individualized. So I guess we have to look through that, take their suggestions, and then make it more Webster specific. In terms of IEPs, I'll just wait until what we get back and then go over that. But they said we wouldn't get that back until probably end of January. So then we'll get that in February, then we'll go over it with our special ed staff, and then we have prong one is what they call it. We have to make some improvements, so then we'll have a time frame that we have to make sure corrective action, what we're going to do better in that area. So overall, they said, we're doing a pretty good job, but there's a couple of things that we need to improve on, and I was assuming that they're gonna find a few things that we need to work on. And when you look at an IEP, or some of you have been at IEP meetings, there's just a whole lot of things that our teachers have to be aware of and dot their I's, cross their T's. So, kudos goes out to our caseload managers for doing a good job and trying to follow all the regulations that they have to follow for special ed. So, yeah, I will bring back more information probably in February, what they actually tell us what we need to work on. I don't know if you had any questions in regards to the review.
I don't have any.
I don't.
Does anybody have any questions?
Kind of a short day. They were here until 1 o'clock. They got here at 8:30. They bring 5 people. Like I said, they take a couple, 3 files from each person and go through them. Title IX seminar, I am now the Title IX coordinator. So that was changed this last July. I have a seminar coming up this Thursday, so weather-wise, we'll see if I get to Mitchell or not. They might have it where it's just a Zoom option. So again, I'll gather the information and then talk to Dr. Block about that. We'll look at our policies, see if we have to change anything in policy in regards to that. A good thing, very good thing, the 19th, the movie theater, Gary and Margaret Kwasniewski and Jay and Janice Pearboom are pitching in some money to cover funds for all the pre-K through 6th grade to go watch a movie on the 19th. So that's kind of a cool thing. And then each of the kids will get a beverage, a pop or a water, and a popcorn along with it. And the movie is The Star, so I don't know a whole lot about it, but I sent the trailer out and it kind of looked like a funny movie, so. Kids will enjoy that, so thanks. It's great to live in a small community like this where Gary and Margaret step up, and Jay and Janice, and I didn't even have to ask for this. They came forward and said, hey, would you be willing to do this? And I said, yeah, heck yeah, the kids would love something like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Donation, that's very nice.
Yeah, very, very nice. And then we're working on our ski trip for next Tuesday for the 8th grade ski trip. So hopefully we get all the papers in and all the kids get that in and ready to go by next Tuesday.
You see what kind of snow blows through the whole countryside here next week.
Yeah, they're making snow, so they're skiing already at Andy's Tower Hills in Alexandria. So looks like the storm is going that way, so they'll get some additional snow.
Okay, anything else for Mr. Case? Thank you, Mr. Case. NESC.
It was a very relatively short meeting for the regular session. They did go into executive session for some personnel things, but there really was not much at all on the agenda.
Okay,
Unless Martin knows of something that's worthy
It's
of.
the quickest one I ever sat through.
Yeah,
so.
it's,
all right, we'll keep moving along then. 2023-2024 calendar was included within your packets. Jim, do you want to hit any of the highlights?
so these are basically corresponding dates, and when I say that, you look at the first date and the in-service, and of course they're different because I said that. When you look at our in-service, and this is kind of an explanation to the teachers that might be listening, and I have sent this out to the staff just this afternoon. The 16th of August is when NSU has their back-to-school seminar. I think it's a great opportunity for some of our teachers, not all, but some of our teachers to go to that. If they, are looking to gain some credit renewal, they can go and do that. It's also, they always have a very good speaker every year. And so originally we were looking at the 17th and the 21st for in-service, which was exactly corresponding dates to this year's. But then when I got to the end of the semester, I'm down a couple of days, and I did not want to have a shorter first semester than we currently have, because they're already imbalanced. We have 82 in the fall, 89 in the spring. And I'm fine with that imbalance because we typically, I say that this week we're probably gonna have snow days, but we typically get more snow days in the spring than you do in the fall. So we had to make some adjustments to the very beginning with the in-service, and that was due to a rollover of the weeks in August. We wouldn't get enough days in to meet that 82 days if I didn't do what we did. I added a day of school at the very beginning this current school year, we started on Wednesday. This proposal starts on a Tuesday. And rather than have an in-service on Monday with a back-to-school barbecue that night and then have a full day of school the very next day, that might be a bit much for the staff and the students. So I moved the 15th as an in-service, the 17th would be our back-to-school barbecue, and then the 21st would still gives the teachers and the students a 4-day week before things get going, or 4-day weekend, and then start on the 22nd. Some conversation about whether we should have a full day of school the first day or not. I don't know if I really am in favor of that. If we're gonna start school, let's start school and get going. I don't know if it's an issue for daycare and different things like that, the very first day of school, but otherwise it's pretty much the same. We have an in-service in Florence on the 13th of October. I did make an effort to try to put parent-teacher conferences the night before an in-service or the night before a vacation day, just to make the week a little bit more palatable for staff. It's not possible in October due to, I don't know if it's region volleyball or what it is on the 12th, but we had something already scheduled, and if it's a regular season game for us, those are typically, it might be football playoffs, those are typically things we can't control or else they're on 2-year contracts. So I was able to put parent-teacher conferences on Tuesday of that particular week, so it's not the day before, but it is during the same week where you don't have 5 full days of school plus conferences. And in February, I was able to work out the way we had it this year. Beyond that, it's pretty much the same thing. We choose a day for prom, and that typically is determined on when we can have an in-service, where it doesn't conflict with track or golf or some significant activity in the spring, and so that's why the 19th has been chosen there. It's the best of the 2 or 3 days that we had as options. Some conversation could be had, I suppose, with do we come back to school on the 2nd of January versus the 3rd? That's an option to discuss. Other than that, that's kind of what I have. I am certain that I will get some responses from the staff regarding some suggestions, which is fine. That's why we do it, to try to figure out it. And sometimes they might find a mistake as well. I do make mistakes, so there are times where they might notice something that we've got to put in place and fix it.
Well, on that clerical note, in August,
You
I
found a
see
mistake?
the 22nd is highlighted, but in the narrative it says the 23rd.
There's one right there. I didn't change it when I changed the green block, so I'll take care of that. And I do have, every time that I do these, I do have, I take a version, I'll give one to Mr. Case and to Karen and Kelly, so they have to take some of the blame if we don't catch up.
Terribly.
All right, the calendar's for discussion. Does anything for Dr. Block? It's not for approval tonight, just discussion, get it out there.
Maybe get staff comments.
Primary comments I get from the community every year is that they'd like to get as close as possible to Labor Day.
Yep.
That's, the later we start, the better is the primary comment I get from quite a few. Anything else? All right, buildings and grounds.
We have a meeting tomorrow, it's gonna be via Zoom, or I don't know if Patty or anybody's gonna drive up, or, it just depends on the weather. Basically, what I've got is our last meeting, they have, if you've noticed, there's a big plastic structure out there they're actually doing the block work for the load-bearing walls and the corridor walls, I believe is what they're doing, it's mostly the corridor walls. Eventually, there will be exterior walls of block work that will be put in place, as well as the precast walls, I'm gonna say on the east side of the classrooms. Once they have that, I believe they can actually put up the steel structures for the roof part and actually put a roof on it and then start to enclose it and heat it so they can work on the inside. The precast walls for the larger portion of the facility where it's gonna be the shops, those are anticipated to come in late January, early February. And as I understand, they will be able to put those in place in the middle of the winter,
Yep.
depending on how much snow's out there, those types of things. Classrooms wise, they did ask me if we could relocate the resource room and the 2 math rooms, which are the 3 classrooms just to the south of the library here. Relocate those particular classes sometime in January. I've decided that we would do that just before Christmas break. We had the welding class as well as some custodial help tear out the countertops on the perimeter of the middle school computer lab so that can be kind of retro made into a regular classroom. The center countertops, we weren't able to take those out because they're concrete right into the floor, and there are no bolts to take the countertop off. The brackets they're all welded, so we chose to leave those in place, and then we'd have 2 rows of desks on either side. And so a math classroom's gonna go in the middle school computer lab, and the resource room is gonna go into the former middle school science lab, and then we have an extra classroom in the middle school that's gonna take the other math classroom. That's all gonna happen basically, next week.
Is it?
Next week or 2 weeks, just before Christmas break, that Wednesday before Christmas break. And that way they don't have to transition midway in the middle of the quarter, or the first half of next semester, so. I don't know that there's a whole lot else to tell you. I know that the progress out there kinda seems like it's a little bit slow, but they're doing what they can with respect to weather. And when they do get the load-bearing walls up and get the roof up, you're gonna see a lot of stuff happen a lot more quickly within the short weeks after that.
I think they're originally scheduled for this week for steel, but that's not gonna happen.
Some of their steel's already here.
The bar joists,
Okay. Yeah.
roof steel.
I know that they received a pretty good sizable shipment about a week ago.
Mhm. That was a roof.
Okay.
How do you think things are going, Larry?
Well, they were hoping, the first of the year to have it enclosed and be nice, but with this snow, I don't, I mean, it's going, just how it goes. It's, you get impatient,
Sure.
but
I think they're fighting some labor issues, they're fighting the same battle that everybody's fighting. When they're able to go, they go, and
yeah. I think some of the pre-stress are poured, are complete already, the interior ones.
Mhm.
And they were gonna start pouring the exterior. Any of you looked at that sample out here. That's what they'll be pouring now. Now, he was gonna pick some columns up. They were gonna, JDH was in Sioux Falls, bring them up this week. I don't know if they,
Some steel columns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so,
they're gonna do some things to, we'll have a better idea tomorrow, we're gonna get a schedule update.
Yeah.
But Jack from JDH was talking about lumping some things together and trying to plan things a little bit better to utilize a crane more efficiently, to maybe wait a week so that we can set some, I don't remember if it was the roof columns and then some
bar
precast
joists and
walls.
stuff, yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
they're doing
My
it.
understanding is exactly that. They were trying to maximize the coordination of different parts of the project plus different companies that are working
Right.
on those projects, so.
As long as it keeps moving. it'll get done.
Okay. Buildings and grounds, while we're on it, any update after we get done with Christmas programs? People ask me about the audio system at the Armory. We ordered that, correct, in July?
Yes, we did order it.
All right.
It's way
It was
back
actually
ordered.
ordered in June with a pre-approval that it would be billed in July. And I will tell you that Tammy Block did actually contact them since we had the Veterans Day program and since we had the concerts. She goes, I know they're probably getting tired of me, but she's just kind of trying to push that button to get it going a little bit more. But it's a matter of waiting for equipment. As far as I know, the majority of the equipment is there and ready, but they're waiting on two items that are necessary, and it's not worth coming and putting it all in, and then it's not functional anyway. So whatever they're waiting on is very important for the process, or the whole functioning of it.
So again, we did order this in June. We want to have this system in, Amanda. We have a lot of people ask us about it every time there's an event at the Armory, and you know, maybe it'd be better to put Larry on a plane to China and find where those two pieces are, and it might be quicker, but we're trying to get a new sound system. All right, anything else as to the buildings and grounds? All right, soccer request, discussion item. I know we got you two ladies here today. Go ahead and come on up and tell us what you got.
Thank you guys for inviting us back to the school board meeting to discuss a girls soccer program for the fall of 2023. The purpose is to even out the number of boys and girls participating in fall sports and provide an equal opportunity for girls within the Webster School District. We realize that the school district must make tough decisions on where to spend limited resources that are available. While any additional costs must be scrutinized, the total cost of adding a girls soccer team is small compared to keeping many girls on the sidelines each fall. There are 23 girls to be exact in the fall of 2023. The estimated equipment cost would be $5,400, and I have checked with the Phyllis Hansen Foundation, and I believe that our group would qualify and receive a grant for the foundation to cover uniforms and equipment. I'm waiting to submit the grant until approval of the team. For transportation costs, it would be approximately $3.75 per mile for busing. This means it would cost about $3.75 for us to travel to Aberdeen, about $200 for Groton, and about $1,000 for Sioux Falls. And then for the coaching, the estimated cost is $3,925. We have talked with the Webster Soccer Association, and participation rates remain high in U6, U8, U10, and U12. There were a total of 107 participants last spring. Interest falls off as they grow older, as there is not a high school team to play for after reaching that age. So a lot of the kids just stop playing soccer and they join sports where they can keep going. A lot of the boys would switch to football or the girls switch to volleyball because they know that they can't keep playing soccer as they grow older. Thank you guys again for allowing us to speak tonight. The Webster School District does a great job in educating area youth and providing opportunities for everyone. By adding a girls' soccer as an activity, Webster would move 23 girls from the sidelines to the playing field in the fall of 2023. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Gentlemen, do you have questions?
Of the 23 girls, how many of them are participating now in volleyball and cross country?
There's 23 girls who, like, compared to
For soccer, do you have 23 girls interested in the
Yes.
and are they currently in volleyball or cross country?
Some of them are, and then some of them aren't. There's a mix.
Are there enough girls, I'm just gonna ask, to keep volleyball and cross country and soccer?
A lot of times these kids would be able to play two sports because soccer isn't going to be competing with the other sports, if that makes sense. So there would be enough girls total.
It's not the same season?
Well, it is, but a lot of schools that, like Groven, for example, the girls do both. So we would hope to just do soccer practice.
Yeah, I don't know what their numbers are for.
Yeah, we would hope to just do soccer like after volleyball practice, so girls can remain and just do.
Actually, the Groton coaches really like the soccer organization because it kind of starts a little bit earlier than volleyball and cross country and stuff. So they're able to get in shape and their team actually ends up being better. So their coaches really like having the double athletes.
Oh, I like the thought, I'm just concerned that you're gonna have enough girls.
Do you have an age breakdown
For the,
of the 23, how old are the other grades?
I don't have that number on me right now, but it varied from 7th to juniors.
Is this kind of even all the way through, or is there one bunch that there's more
There
of?
was probably more sophomores and juniors than like 7th and 8th graders.
But that interest will probably come with age too as the program actually goes on. Because I think a lot of them were just worried that like it actually wouldn't happen, so they didn't say yes.
So that season starts in July, or end of July, and then when does it end?
It ends, I'm not.
It
for
ends
sure.
before region volleyball, so it's like mid-October, I believe, is when the Groton girls always stop.
And just to be clear, the opportunity right now is equal, isn't it? Between the boys and girls fall sports?
Yes, there's
Okay.
the same amount of sports.
Okay.
The number of kids is different though.
But we are providing an equal opportunity. Okay.
So you mentioned Aberdeen, Groton, and Sioux Falls. Is that the only 3 schools?
There's quite a few schools down by Sioux Falls. We just put about Sioux Falls because it's about the same distance that we have to travel.
Are you proposing a full slate of games, matches?
I don't know how many games we will participate in next year.
Okay.
How many does Groton participate?
I believe they have like 3 to 5 usually every year. Because there's not that many schools around here, and they usually do like to cut it off before region volleyball so that their girls can focus on it. So if that makes sense.
These would be daytime events too, I assume? I don't know if they have lighted fields or,
They're usually on like Saturdays during the day. Is a lot of times when they have.
did you look at a JV schedule, how that would look? How the others have that going, startup or whatever?
I did not.
Okay.
And basically, we have 2 options, if I understand right. Correct? I mean, there's a club option, and then there's a school option, correct?
And just refresh my memory, we talked about Groton last time. What other local schools in the Northeast Conference are participating?
So last meeting, I sent a link because a girl from Living told me that there was, turns out that is not true. So
Okay.
it's Groton and then the next closest ones are a few hours away, so.
Aberdeen has one too, though.
Central or Roncalli?
I believe they have, okay, Central has one, and then I believe there's like a club too. So,
Okay.
yeah, I don't know for sure what club is.
No, I know they have a club over there, because I knew the coach there for a long time. They're pretty active.
Groton, just for clarification though, Groton doesn't play Aberdeen. Aberdeen would be in a different classification. So really the only one in the northeast part of the state is Groton. The second closest I think would be like Sioux Falls Christian as far as our class. So even though they're 15 miles apart, they don't actually play each other in soccer.
Any other questions, comments?
Well, just trying to get all the facts out on the table to make an informed decision. In your presentation, you talked about $1,500 worth of busing, and one trip to Sioux Falls would be, just the mileage would be over $1,000, and then you've got to pay the downtime, which would be another $300, I'm guessing. You know, so I think your $1,500 for transportation could be a little low. Does that make sense?
I will tell you, ladies, the primary comments I got from, terrible English, tell Mrs. Gangle. The primary comments I received from the community is the concern of, keeping how many sports going? Will it hurt our cross-country, our existing sports? Will it hurt volleyball, existing sports. Now, you mentioned boys. Is this a program we would eventually, if we have a girls, right now, we're actually
Yeah.
equal, volleyball, football, cross country, everybody. Girls basketball, boys basketball, equal. Wrestling, girls, boys, both can participate. Track, equal, equal. Golf, equal, equal. Now do I need to eventually someday bring in a boys program? Now I get your question as to how many boys are there versus girls. Well, then you have sometimes our football team has only had 20 kids and our volleyball team has 38. I mean, we're not in a title college level where we have to have the same numbers, scholarships. But that's the primary issue that I've had from people is, will that affect our other programs? And so that's going to be, I think, one of our key concerns as to how to go about it. We put it down as a discussion item today because we're not here ready to make a decision. We want to make sure we get all of the information that we can. Get a chance for the community to give us feedback because that is very important. And at the same time, get the feedback from you folks. Those were good questions as to how many are in the senior class next year, this year's juniors versus this year's 8th graders. I mean, what type of numbers are we going to come up? How many of these, I liked your question, Larry, how many of these are non-participating athletes right now versus participating athletes, if that makes sense. The more information we have, it helps us make a better decision. So unless there's anything else, I think we're good for tonight, and we'll keep putting this out there and appreciate your efforts of putting this together.
You're doing a very good job gathering the information, and do you understand the process that we have to go through as a board? Because we have to look out for the district as a whole, so we just have to do all of the fact finding and then make an informed decision, but you guys are doing a great job.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
Okay, move on from the soccer request. Discussion item of lunch program assistance. This week I see there was an article in the Reporter and Farmer, Amanda, that was in there, how we are doing with reduced free meals assistance for people that may not be able to pay for additional milks or seconds, I believe would be a good way of putting it, or helping keep their accounts current. There's been a few different things that have been discussed. I wanted to make sure that we got it on our, and use the word got, that we put this on our agenda so that we could have a good conversation. If there's any questions that the board has, we could go from there. Lori, Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, I'll kind of just lead things off. We've been receiving donations for many years here at the Webster School District to assist people with our lunch program and milk snack program. Is that a fair statement?
As long as my tenure here.
Okay. And so we have been receiving donations, and how that works is the donations we receive are put towards the best use that the administration can find within our program. We have a very robust program, but as you saw in the paper, only 21% of our students are on free or reduced meals. Luckily, I think the statistic we found was for the month of October, we only had, was it 4 alternative meals served? You know, when we have a census of how many kids eat at the lunchroom every day, Lori, approximately?
I would say around the 450 to 480 mark.
You know, so if you have, let's just do 400 because that's an easy number for me. Take that times 20 days. That's 8,000 meals that we serve in 1 month. And to have only 4 alternative meals, I think that's excellent. And it shows that we have been working well with folks. Now there's a push, I believe, to maybe bring more awareness to this subject. And there's a group of concerned citizens that wants to put together an organization to accept donations. And I believe they're going to take the steps necessary on their side of the house to collect donations, and then on a monthly basis to bring that in to the administration to assist in their goals of providing additional meals seconds for those in need. Is that a fair statement, kind of what the conversations have been? Is there anything else we need to add, or anything else along those lines that the administration wants to add?
No, we've been in contact with those people that are forming this group you know, to raise funds. And, you know, I think we've come up with an idea as a stepping stone to get started with their funds, so we'll just follow the steps and take that first step and see what happens.
It's always nice to see any donations that can be made to the school district. You know, whether we receive a grant for $181,000 or whether somebody brings in a donation just for our K through 6 to attend a movie. You know, we're very appreciative of the support that we receive for the community, and thank you for the individuals for their dedication to our students and to our families. At the same time, too, I think it's important to note we should encourage people, fill out those reduced meals, fill out those free meal applications. Sometimes we have to remember that self-help is the best help. And we have to remind our patrons that they have to take the steps necessary to sometimes help themselves so that even the district can help themselves. And sometimes that gets lost in the shuffle.
And donations, I mean, if somebody wants to donate, it does not have to go through that group. They can send it to the school, bring it to the school, you know, and it doesn't just have to be for the lunch program. We've had donations for a wide array of different, I mean, it's been FFA, you know, we just don't publicize. A lot of, when it comes to food service, that's pretty confidential information, so a lot of that's not publicized.
And we should note that. There is a lot of confidentiality within the lunch program, and there are certain rules and policies that Lori has to follow, and so it can be a bit cumbersome, but we're gonna figure it out. I mean, but people have to understand it, just, you gotta follow the rules.
They haven't had to fill paperwork out the past couple of years
Correct.
with
It was-
COVID money, so.
Right, and you know, after and you know, we've had, this has been an ongoing thing, and it's every school district. The last 2 years, previous years, everyone had free meals. And so now we are, you know, we knew it was gonna be an adjustment when fall hit and people had to start paying again, but we've kind of
So they've
gotten over that hump and we're on a good track right now.
Yeah, they've gotten away from doing any paperwork,
Yeah.
hopefully.
And you know, the other thing is, we don't have families that have large delinquent accounts. We might have some families that, you know, by the time, we have a policy, school board policy that's in effect. When they hit that limit, they might be over for a couple of days, and then they bring, you know, they bring their account up to date. And also notifications are sent out to families by email and text every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So when your account hits a certain amount, the computer automatically starts sending those notifications out, so families are notified.
It was interesting to note, we found out from another school district when we were exploring this, that they have delinquent accounts to the tune of $700. We do not. And we, as every year when we go through the budgeting process, we talk about how much can we supplement the food service budget to keep our costs low here in Webster. And we've done that debate every year for the last, well, I can't tell you how many years I've been on the board, but I think we're doing a nice job on that. And when it comes to the donations, again, there are so many anonymous donations we receive. I don't want to squelch other donations. We appreciate it, and we can't say that enough. Thank you for those individuals that make these anonymous donations and stop by and give our business manager a check and don't want any recognition. That is awfully nice, and especially at this time of the year, we really appreciate it. If you can get that out for us, Amanda, that would help out a lot, because we do appreciate those folks that do it. And they do it in other events, just other than our lunch. I mean, whether it's been buying computers, it's helping us with books, whether it's helping our sports programs, there are many donations that are made, and people do have a very good heart, which we're very appreciative of.
I think it's important to note too, we are constantly, whether it's the business office, Mr. Case as a principal, myself as a superintendent or a high school principal, we are constantly in communication with other schools. If we find out that another school is doing something, and we go, hey, we'd like to see what's going on and how are you doing it so we can make it work in Webster, that's always happening. And one thing we did find out in this situation is we haven't yet found, and I say haven't yet found because we'll still continue to look for some unique situations. We haven't found a unique method or a unique process by any of the schools. Most of the schools that we talk to, they're either figuring, they're determining that they're going to eat that debt and And I'm not sure that I want our district in that particular position where you guys as a board would have to say, at the end of every school year, we've got this much money or this much in debt or unpaid balances. Do we pay for that out of the general fund? I would never propose we get to that point as a district. So some districts do that, and some districts are doing exactly what we're doing. They're figuring out a way, how can we get, utilize the funds? Dispersing the funds is probably the biggest challenge. You know, there might be some families that are on free reduced lunches, and the reason they have a negative balance is because of the seconds and the snack meals, or the second meals. And we have to choose, if it's left up to us within the school or a committee or whoever, we have to choose, are we gonna give that money to those funds? Or are we gonna give it to a family that doesn't qualify for free reduced lunches, but they're really close to probably have difficulties with meeting all of the financial needs that they have within their family, that could probably use the money as much as somebody that does qualify for free reduced lunch. We haven't found that unique solution, and if we find out that there's another school doing something that we're not doing, or that we haven't learned from the area school districts we've already contacted, by all means, we're gonna certainly look at it.
Do we have a lot of people getting seconds on their meals?
Well, we serve a lot of seconds, but when you look at, you know, like our overall student population, I mean, it's not like every student gets a second every day.
Yeah, I know I've heard from some parents portion size, but of course, our hands are tied in what you serve because of the calorie and federal guidelines. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of kids could eat thirds.
Yeah, and we can't do that, and also portion sizes are controlled by the state.
Yeah, see,
I mean, when our food service department has to get trained for all of this stuff, you know, for this age group, it has to be this size, for this age group, it has to be this size.
A lot of parents don't understand that
Yeah.
that portion size it's tight. And do all schools have a similar menu?
Yes,
And also it isn't.
because when we've had, you know, concerns about that in the past, we've researched other local schools, we've looked at their menus online,
Yeah.
and they might call something a little different, but
Yeah,
it's all pretty similar.
I'd just like people to know that, yeah, it's tight what you can do.
We're controlled by the rules set forth by the federal government, but to Larry's point, you know, parents should encourage their kids to get seconds on Turkey Day, not Bosco Stick Day. I mean, we've been down that road, and the Bosco Sticks are a big hit because that's what we sell the most of, that's what the kids are eating, right? So.
Well,
We've
not
tried,
those-
remember,
Oh, yeah.
you know, one thing Joel's been a proponent on of is goulash, or, you know,
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
the meals we have.
Nobody
with
eats
our
it.
kids, but nobody eats it.
So why do we serve it?
Yeah, you know, that's our problem.
I will say this, I've been in administration now since the late 90s, and I can recall, I'll use my former school in Henry, I can recall some of those big basketball players and football players, and I'm thinking, there is no way this is enough food for these guys that are going through, and that's all they get. And even when they get seconds, it's still not enough. But it's all based on the restrictions for the portion size. With respect to the type of food that we serve, we've been through this particular topic 2 or 3 times in the last decade regarding what types of things are, and I know when Sherry Seckmiller was here, she tried several different, I would call them casserole type, and the times have changed. There is so much pre-prepared food at Casey's, at Senex, at all of the fast food places that you see, that it's just pre-prepared food, and that's what our kids are used to. It's not that they don't like those things, but I think the expectation outside of the house and home-cooked meals, unfortunately, it's more of that pre-cooked stuff.
And our menus, we have on a rotation, so we have, you know, we have them on a six-week rotation. And we try, or the food service department, they try to serve the most popular meals. You know, obviously, we're serving them more because we want students to keep eating, to keep, and so when we have, you know, low numbers on meals that are just, we're not gonna keep serving those.
Well, and I recall Sherry coming in and telling us on the day she did those casseroles, those,
Yeah.
that they had more food thrown out.
I think Mr. Case said our obesity was up 3% or something.
23%, I think our district is at.
So,
Well, you know, there's other things involved with
Yeah.
that other than just eating.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the information. Encourage anybody, if they have a question, make sure you get a chance to do your due diligence and your homework and try to help you out. So,
You know, I gotta just follow up, I should leave this alone, but I just can't. I wanna follow up on what Dr. Black said about his communication, and people need to understand that we are in, when I say we, the administration is in constant communication with the neighboring districts. We know what each other are doing, we talk to each other, and when you see misinformation and blatant lies on social media about what's going on, it really drives me crazy, because we're doing the best that we can, and our administration deals with these issues, and they communicate with the neighboring school districts all around the state. Heck, when I was in your Lori's office this morning, you were on a group text with I don't know how many superintendents. I mean, you guys communicate. And I think that needs to be made known to the public that we are in communication, and we're doing the best that we can. And I just don't like seeing the lies and misrepresentation out there in Facebook land.
get off social media. That's just the best advice. And with that being said, stay off social media, kids. Anything else? I'm sure that's not going to happen, as my kids are probably right now right on social media saying my dad's an idiot. Anyway, if that's all we have, we do have executive session for personnel and I believe transportation. Should be short, no action to be taken after we're done. So do I have a motion to adjourn? Thank
Move
you.
into executive session.
Oh yeah, excuse me, executive session first then, yeah. Motion by Marty, second by